Hello, beautiful humans. This is Lilia. I am a certified coach, body worker, and yoga teacher. I've spent the last 13 years learning and experimenting with different self development tools. And I am launching this new series called Emotional Friday. And every Friday, I'll be uploading a video sharing a specific emotion with you and what that emotion means. I think a lot of us go through a lot of emotions in our daily life. I've been called the drama queen many a times because I feel a lot. And I must admit that less so now, but when I was a little younger, I would often get stuck in those feelings and not understand them and not be able to decipher them. Until I met one of my many teachers on this journey who I did a lot of work with. And this teacher really made me understand emotions as um, messengers. So, and how to simply be the recipient of that message and understand and decipher what that emotion means. And I think that in our culture, in our society, wherever we are in the world, but I think more so in India, um, what we could call or perceive as negative emotions are frowned upon, are not discussed, are not shared. And so we keep them inside, and we don't know how to deal with them, or we don't even know, how to understand them and, and really decipher what that emotion is telling us. So, this is what I'm going to attempt to share with you here on this platform. This is my first ever video on Instagram. I am not a fan of uh, this virtual reality. I love seeing people in the flesh, but I understand that this is the time that we live in and that this is a beautiful tool where I can share with you, um, some of the things that I have learned on my journey and that might be helpful to you, and I can also learn from others and from their journey. So, today, the first emotion that we're going to look at in this Emotional Friday series is abandonment. And abandonment is a really, really a strong emotion. Let us remember that emotions are not to be taken as who we are, they're not to be identified with, they're really to be taken as a message that you're receiving from your emotional realm telling you something. Like when you receive, uh, they say don't kill the messenger, right? So the emotion is just the bearer of news. Whether you deem it good or bad, that's beside the point. Emotions are neutral, they just signal something to us. So, abandonment is a very uh, challenging emotion to receive and acknowledge because it's it means the message of the emotion when you're feeling abandoned, when we're stuck in that feeling of abandonment, it's basically telling you the message is I am losing mom, mom which is equal to love, or dad which is equal to security. And basically, you find yourself at the bottom of the symbolic ladder. It's like this danger that you're dying. And if you are feeling this emotion in the present, it is not of this moment, it is echoing a childhood fear. That's why abandonment is so challenging for many of us, myself included. I've had to deal with abandonment and feelings of being abandoned so many times on my journey. And now, as I've matured, as I've grown, as I've learned to understand myself more, to understand, my wounds and what are the things that are challenging for me, I understand that abandonment is just a message, like joy is a message, like anger is a message that is telling me that on a very intrinsic level, I feel I am losing mom, which is the symbol of love, or I am losing dad, which is the symbol of security. This is all on a very symbolic level, right? You don't actually have to be losing a parent. It's the feeling that you are. And so symbolically, you're at the bottom of this ladder and you feel like you're dying. So it's really about understanding that this is something that's echoing a childhood fear, something that in this moment is triggering you and bringing you back to that childhood fear. And it's just something to be with, to observe, to acknowledge. And more often than not, when we just sit with our emotions, when we accept them, when we observe them, they dissipate. And a lot of us, myself included, with the emotions that I don't enjoy feeling, such as anger or resentment, anything that is not love related, I don't enjoy feeling. I think none of us do. And we tend to resist those, right? Because they're not pleasant and we don't want to handle that, and we'd rather live in a, fairy tale, awesome, cool world. But when we allow those emotions to just be what they are, messengers that are giving us information that is important for us in that moment, there's no fight anymore. There's no good or bad. There's no trying to resist. It's just like, oh, okay, right now this happened in my present situation. I'm feeling abandoned. And more than I am feeling, in order to dissociate from the emotion and be able to receive it like a message, it's more about saying, I am receiving the emotion of abandonment. So you're no longer saying, I am feeling abandoned. I am receiving the emotion of abandonment. And by just shifting that, instead of it being, you know, uh, you are identifying with that emotion, you are actually just seeing it as something that's coming to you. Like the rain comes and then it goes, and the clouds come and go, the sun shines and it doesn't shine anymore, right? So it's a much healthier space to be in. It doesn't mean that feeling those emotions uh, is easy, but it does help in understanding what the message is. So today was all about abandonment and how to receive that message, how to accept it, acknowledge it, and then just let it move away. So remember, abandonment is I am losing mom, which is a symbol of love, or dad, which is a symbol of security. And so you find yourself at the bottom of the symbolic ladder. And because as a child, mom is love and dad is security, if you're losing that, you feel like you're dying, right? And so whenever you feel this feeling of abandonment coming up, this message of abandonment coming up, it's never about the present moment. It's echoing a childhood fear. I hope this was helpful. I enjoyed sharing this with you. I will see you next Friday for another emotional Friday. I'm not sure what emotion I'll be sharing yet. I'll see what the energies feel like. And if you have any emotions you would like me to share, discuss here, please feel free to message me, DM me on Instagram. I'd be more than happy to. I have a whole repertoire of emotions that I'll be going through each week, and I would suggest that you write it down because it's helpful. You might forget this, and it's helpful to just have a little guide, a little booklet, because by the end of the series, you'll have a lot of different emotions with the message that they carry. And it will help you navigate your emotional life and bring more awareness, more maturity in the way that we all handle our emotions. I wish you a beautiful weekend filled with light and love and no abandonment feelings. But if they do arise, remember what we just talked about in this video. Lots of love. Bye.